Hi, this is Kandia with Kandia Haynesworth Designs, and I am in the official classroom for the Sew It and Show It workshops. Today we are making fabric flowers for these in the hoop custom-made embroidery design bibs. Okay, so if you are in the embroidery industry, then you are probably familiar with in the hoop, which means that it's an item that is made completely in the hoop with very little to no sewing. This embroidery design can be purchased at digistitches.com, and I have posted the link below. And if you would like to see exactly how they are made, I have made a tutorial for you as well, and that link is below. However, I love this because it really gives the impression that this was completely sewn, and it is. It's just not sewn by you in a sewing machine. And for this project, you are going to need your scrap fabric, a pair of scissors, a marking tool, a needle and thread, and a template for your circles. I am using this tape because it has a 3.5-inch diameter. And once again, this is not a sewing machine project. This is a hand needle and thread. So if that's the most that you can do is basic stitches, this is the project for you. Let's get started. Okay, so once again, these were made in the hoop, and that means that this entire bib was made in the hoop, embroidery and all, except that I had to add my tag and close it up. For the most part, this bib is complete. I just have to permanently tack down the Velcro closure. Okay, so we won't be making a fabric flower for this bib, and then this bib has the same design, so we will not be making a fabric flower for that one as well. However, the last two we will be making a fabric flower for. Now both of these have the ruffled trim, as you can see, and there is a tutorial on how to make this ruffle trim, and I also have a tutorial on how to attach the ruffle trim. So if you like this design better than this design, then you can learn how to do it. Alright, so now when you are doing the bibs with this ruffle trim, when you go to close it, like so, you're going to have an opening. All right, so your Velcro closure is going to be underneath here and placed on top of here, and then you'll have this opening. That flower is going to be tacked down right here, and then it's going to close this area up here. Okay, so for this project, we are going to be using our scrap fabric and a template. Once again, the template that I'm using is this tape because it has a 3.5 diameter. You want to start first off by pressing your fabric. Okay, you don't want to start making flowers on fabric that is wrinkled. Okay, and for the most part, I guess I'll start with the pink. You want to turn it over, and we're making 5 petals for each flower. Okay, and this is going to fit nicely and allow me to draw a line for the template and cut out the fabric flower petals that I'm going to need, and then I will mix and match. Okay, so I've already cut out 3 petals. I just need to cut out 2 more. And remember, we're going to be turning it right side down, using your template and drawing a line around, okay? And then you're going to cut out. And you want to try to literally use as much scrap fabric that you possibly can, because remember, it's just going to be going in the garbage anyway. So if you can, salvage it and use it, why not? So I'm going to try to get 3 petals out of this one that I'm using. And I think that I can actually. Yeah. And then I'm just simply going to just cut it out. Okay, so I guess I got a little carried away because now I've cut out all these circles for the petals. So I guess my flowers are going to be 6 petal flowers. All right, so we're going to jump right into it. I have my needle and thread in my hand. And to do this, you want to just simply pair both edges of the circle together like so. And then you want to bring your needle under and then over. And then you want to do this all the way around, and this is going to be forming your first petal. And you just want to just simply back and forth. This is very easy. And then pull your needle through. Okay. And so now you've just formed your first petal. And then you want to take the next. Now this is Still on the thread, take your next petal, form it like so, and do the same thing. And what you're going to be doing is doing this for all 6 petals. And it is nice when you use different or coordinating fabrics. It really is cute when you do it like this. Okay, so then that's 2 petals formed. And then let's do it again, because it really is easy and so quick. I mean, I'm doing this very slowly, but generally I would do this very fast, especially like if you're watching a movie or YouTube videos. You cut out a bunch of scrap fabric for petals and you can get it done. So far you can kind of see how it is starting to form. I'm going to finish the 3, and or if it gets to the point where it's too big, because this is for an infant, if it's too big, then I will just come down to 2 more petals. But I'm going to finish this up and then I'll meet you back here. Okay, so I have finished attaching all 6 petals, and I just want to show you how we form this. So you're going to have an opening like so when you add your last petal. You want to take your needle and thread and attach this end to this end, okay? And then from here on, you're just going to do a bunch of tacks. Okay, and so I'm going to take this area and just attach it through, so I can connect to this area. So the needle is going in here, and I'm going to grab the fabric from here, just so we can kind of pull all of this together nice and tight. And I'm just going to do this all the way around. I'm just going to take my needle and just try to connect them all through each other, just so the flower just have a nice firm finish. And then I have something that we will use to cover the middle of it. But right now I'm just working on still firmly making the flower. Okay, so I have finished tightly connecting these together, so now we have a firm fit. So now all you want to do now is start to form your petals, okay? Because as you can see, they're kind of doing their own thing. And to do that, you just want to just, you know, put your finger or your thumb inside and just kind of pull on it a little bit, just to form the shape. All right, like so. And then kind of flatten it out some. All right, so now this is actually going on to the bib. So let's say if I grab this one, and that has the same colors that we used for this bib. And if I had plans on putting the closure here, right? And then we add this right there. See how cute that is? All right, see how cute that is? That is just absolutely adorable, right? And so that's what the plan. However, I do have a center, okay? And I guess you could use a button. I don't really like to use buttons for babies, so I'm just going to use like a little small crochet flower, you know, nothing that can pop off, you know, during a wash or tugging or anything like that. So that's what we're going to do. And now I'm going to make another flower for this bib using the same process. All right, so I just wanted to point out one thing. After you are finished connecting all of your flowers together and you start to form and so forth, the one thing you want to do before you take your needle or cut your needle and thread away from your flower is go underneath. So turn it on the reverse side just simply by taking your needle and going through the center, and then turn it over and do a couple of tack stitches on the reverse side, because this is the part that's going to actually be sitting on your bib closure. Okay, so I'm just going to just do the same thing, just making sure that it's a nice and firm flower and it's not going to fall apart after your customer have washed it. Okay, you don't want that. You want it to be firm, and it is a bib, and we know that bibs are going to get messy and that kind of thing, but these things also become keepsakes. So hopefully it's preserved as much as possible. I mean, it is going to be for a baby, but your work should be remain intact. You can't do anything about stains, or how it holds up in regards to like I said, spaghetti stains and so forth. But you must do whatever you can to make sure that things aren't falling off. So adding these few tacks to the back of it is definitely giving this much more security to this flower. Okay, so we almost finished this order. We're not finished yet. So yeah, I put a lot into my orders, but that is why I also have loyal customers, because they know that I'm going to go the extra distance to make sure that the order is presentable, it's a wow factor, it's complete. Okay, so now we need to attach these flowers to this. Now remember, I did say I have centered tops for them, so I just want to get a close-up on this flower, and then I want to show you that I use these little tiny crochet knit flowers that is going to be attached like so. Okay, and it just makes it absolutely adorable. I love this. Okay, and then when we put it to this one, that's going to look like that. All right, so now, because these are going to an order, to a customer that is not to an order, before I add the closure, the Velcro closure here and here, I'm actually going to tack this flower down, because this is a bit of a chunky flower. It's not heavy, but it's a lot. So I don't want to tack it down with my hand. I'm going to tack it down with the machine. Okay, now if you don't sew with a machine sewing, then you can tack it down with your hand simply by, I just want to show you real quickly, taking your needle and going in from, and then pulling, and then going back and forth like so. Okay, that is how you would attach it. Okay, however, I'm going to attach it with the sewing machine, and if you meet me at the sewing machine, I'll show you how easy it is to do. Okay, so we're going to start out with this one, and as you can see that I have a clip that is holding the flower to the bib, because it is too thick to stick a pin through, and I didn't want to fight with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that this goes underneath my presser foot before I place my needle down in place and before I take the clip off. Okay, so you want to lift your lever to its highest position and just lift it and kind of maneuver that, and then when you got a good position, you want to clip that clip off, or take that clip off, not clip that clip off, and then you still might have to get in there like so. So that's where I want it to be. Okay, and what you're going to do now is you're just going to put a few tack stitches in. Okay, we're not sewing, we're just going to tack it down, and you want to use your pivoting rotation to rotate around this flower. So I'm going to put the needle in place. Okay, then I'm going to put the needle up just to make sure that it's catch, and you see I'm just in one position. I'm not moving anywhere really, just in one position, just so I can catch on to that. Okay, if I were you, I would put my machine on its slowest speed so your machine doesn't take off. And if you have a foot controlled or foot pedal that controls your speed of the machine, then that means your foot is the speed control. So you want to press down softly so your machine goes slowly. Okay, so I'm just going to switch mine to the slowest speed so I don't get carried away while I'm talking, and I'm just going to put a couple of stitches. Okay, and then I'm going to keep my needle inside of the fabric, lift my presser foot up just some, as much as it could go, and then I'm just going to rotate in a different direction. Okay, I'm gonna put my presser foot back down, and then I'm going to put a couple of tacks this way in. Okay, and so what's going to happen is you want to try to stay to the center of the flower because you're going to be covering it. Okay, and then once again I'm going to leave my needle down, lift my presser foot up, rotate, and you're just going to do this until you have a nice firm fit in all directions of your flower. Okay, because you don't want it to come off. You really don't. And people, you know, this is how they remain loyal when your things hold up. All right, so people do have more than one baby, and if your things fall apart on them when they bought something from you from one child, chances are when they have another one, or if they're going to another event, they will not come back to you. So you want to do whatever you can to really, really make sure that your products are holding up. So as you can see, I am doing this in all directions, just kind of rotating it, making sure that that center of the flower is really on there. So I'm going to do this for a little while longer just to make sure, and then I am going to switch it to the other bib. Alright, so now I'm going to do the second one, and I wanted to show you a different kind of stitch that you can use. So I'm just going to get it under that machine, get the presser foot down, get the needle in place. Actually, I just pressed the cutter. Get the needle in place and remove my clip. So I'm going to start off by tacking it down with some of the straight stitches there. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing and just make sure it's in the fabric, then lift my presser foot up and just rotate it some, and then get some straight stitches in the opposite direction. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to the zigzag stitch, because in my opinion, especially for a chunky fabric flower like this, is going to work out better in stitching it down. But first you want to start off with regular tack stitches first. Alright, so I'm just going to rotate it in another direction, and then I'm going to actually lift my needle up at this point, make sure my presser foot is down, and then I'm going to switch my machine to a zigzag stitch. You don't want to switch your needle to a zigzag stitch or your machine to a zigzag stitch while the needle is inside of the fabric. I'm going to put the needle in place, and then I'm just going to make some zigzag stitches in all of the directions of the petal. And remember, you are staying in the center of the petal, so you're not coming all the way out, extended out. You're just tacking down the center of the petal. Alright, so now the only thing we have to do is add the center and then the closure. So one of the things that I want to point out is just, you know, the firmness of how this is, how it is up here. Can you see that? How just it's not going anywhere in the wash. And once we add the center here, we'll be able to add the closure here, and it will cover the stitches, because remember, it's going to be like this. So the female of the Velcro will be here, and then the male will cover it. So it will have a finished center and a closure, and then we will be done. And here's the finished product. I am super pleased the way this set came out. Once again, all of the fabrics can be found at Walmart. This is the Waverly Inspiration brand, and they carry them in bulks, and they also carry them in fat quarters. And if you want to learn how to make this adorable fabric flower, the tutorial is below. If you want to learn how to make the ruffle, the tutorial is below, as well as attach the ruffle to the In the Hoop bib, the tutorial is below. If you want to purchase this In the Hoop bib, you can find it at digistitches.com, and the font can be found at planetapplique.com. It is called the Lucy font, and this font is called Black Chancery font, found at Jolson's Designs, and this font is also called Hopscotch font, found at Jolson's Designs as well. And all these links are going to be posted below. Please join me on Facebook at Embroidery Boss Group, or like this channel. You know what? Come back, give me a thumbs up, and also subscribe to my channel. Tell your friends, and thank you so much for joining in. And guess what? I'll see you next time.